Hello and welcome to Allot on Air. During the next 10 minutes or so, we will be meeting with industry experts to discuss the hottest trends in telecom, cybersecurity, and network intelligence.
Hi, this is Dan Bloom, part of the marketing department at Allot, and with me today in the Allot On Air studios is Diego Rodriquez. Diego leads pre-sales efforts for Allot's enterprise business in Latin America. Diego, before we get started, I'm curious, what is pre-sales?
A good question. A pre-sales is someone that has like two feelings. The feeling from the customer, is the commercial feeling, and also the technical feeling. It means that it's the person that can make the two parts, the commercial and the technical side, meet each other to accomplish what the customer wants. For example, normally, we have many different solutions. And the idea of the pre-sales is that he can take the right solution and put it in the part of the customer network where it can make sense and obviously get the satisfaction the customer wants. So basically, that's a pre-sales. It's a pretty tough definition, but yes, I believe that's the things we do in our everyday work.
Ah, fantastic. It really sounds like that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, with what type of companies do you work?
That's another very good question. We work with all the customers that need this kind of has this kind of problems with bandwidth. Uh, Normally, if you ask me, many customers believe that they don't need uh, uh, bandwidth management or visibility over their networks because it's not something that or they believe that they can live with it. So we mostly work with very important companies, normally companies that belongs to the 500 top companies in each country, but we also work with smaller ones that start having this need or start feeling that, yeah, this is a very important things because you need to have a solution that can help you to control the applications that you really need, and not to just buy bandwidth to the ISPs to start doing like a wheel. I don't know how to say, a rabbit wheel that it starts all the time rolling and rolling, because
Okay.
every time you get more bandwidth, yeah, maybe for a little time things can get better. Your application will work perfect,
Mhm.
but 2 or 3 days after, the problem will continue because application that didn't work in the same way, didn't ask for the same bandwidth. So you need something that is more intelligent to take decision over applications. So basically, if you ask me, we work with all the companies around enterprise market, and it's a very interesting market to be with.
It does sound like it. Yeah. Are there specific industries or verticals that you work with?
That's very nice. If you ask me, normally many solutions in the market, not a lot solution, older solutions, has a specific market when where they try to reach. But the thing is that if you ask me, the problem with applications and bandwidth management, it's something that even you and I have at home. So it's something that is not related to verticals. Obviously, we have a special verticals that are mostly need more this solution than others,
Hmm.
but mostly, if you ask me, everyone will need this, even at home. Is really nice because obviously, for example, I have the problem, and I told you we don't have a very big bandwidth in South America at homes. So if my daughter, for example, is looking for a movie in Netflix, for sure I'm going to have problems with my video conference with you. So if, yeah, that's something that is everyone suffers, but as I told you, many of customers believe that they can live with it without it. But if you really need your applications to run smoothly and to keep the money coming, yeah, you need a solution that can handle this kind of scenarios.
Right. I'm sure that that's very important for maybe financial services organizations or higher education,
Yes,
government institutions. Yeah, I'm sure it's especially with COVID and everything, they must be highly reliant on the bandwidth
yes.
management and other solutions that are helping. Yeah.
You touch a very critical point. That is for example, the COVID situation changed the way we work, the way we do our stuff. So yes, that's something that, as in the last question you told me, make the situation worse because now the customers are working from home. So the amount of traffic that enterprises are getting because connection are doing through VPNs are getting higher. So most of the customers are starting buying more bandwidth and more bandwidth, and that's a problem. As I told you, yeah, maybe sometimes bandwidth is not expensive, yes,
Hmm.
but obviously there's a limitation because you have there many solutions, not only the bandwidth manager. You have there a firewall, a DDoS, an APT, whatever, all the solution that the customer has in the border has a limitation of bandwidth. So if you start growing and growing and growing, there's going to be a point when you have to spend a lot of money to get an actualization of this application or these appliances, and this is not something cheap. So that's another point that is very important for us because our solution can help them to extend the life cycle of this of that kind of platforms because you are going to grow not based on the feeling of the customer that something is not working. You are growing because you see that you need more bandwidth and the application are struggling. So
Hmm.
the idea is that you have a solution that allows you to have the intelligence to take decisions like that, to see, okay, do I really need to upgrade my bandwidth? No, maybe I can control some kind of application that is not critical for the business, so I can live more time with this bandwidth, and I'm protecting my investment in all the infrastructure that I have in front of my network. So that's another very important point.
Is that application control, or is application control something different?
That's a mix. If you ask me, in the security world, it's very common to talk about application control, and that is a feature that normally comes in security appliances like firewalls, next generation firewalls, and UTMs. But normally, this kind of solution are based in a very old manner to handle things. That is the permit or deny based on the privilege that I have as on the company. I mean, if I am the person that, I don't know, is in the front desk receiving the people that are coming to the company. No, you are not allowing to use this kind of application or that kind of application. But if I am the uh, vice presidents of IT, obviously I have all their privilege to do things. That's application control, but in a very old way, if you ask me. Now people
Hmm.
are handled different. We can't continue in that way that you didn't have privileges and you have it. It's a very bad way to handle things, but it's the way that they do it. The thing to have application control is to have the intelligence to allow everyone to do whatever they want to do. Obviously, there are things that you don't want people to do, and you can control that, and that makes sense.
What do you mean? Like, what are some of those things that you wouldn't want them to do? You mean like an
Exactly. That's a very good question. For example, normally I have a customer that has a problem that in one day one of his users connect to the Wi-Fi to his cell phone to the Wi-Fi and start listening to music over Spotify. What
okay?
happens? It works. So he start talking to his partners saying, "Oh, Spotify is allowed in our network." At the end, my customer told me, "Oh, I have a problem with bandwidth because I'm getting more bandwidth and more bandwidth, and I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Do you have a solution that can make sense for me and could and help me?" And yes, we go. do a POC, and as soon as we connect the Allot to the network, we start seeing Spotify. So
Okay.
I told her, hey, you're getting lots of traffic of Spotify. What's going on? And she was like, I don't know. My firewall is showing me HTTPS traffic, and I wasn't aware of it. So we obviously we cut it, and the bandwidth, she noticed that all the bandwidth that she was buying from like 3 or 6 months ago was a waste, because she was
Okay.
only giving bandwidth to the people who was listening to Spotify. So that's the kind of scenarios that I told you, that that's something that maybe you don't want. Maybe you have companies that can or want people to listen to Spotify, but in some scenarios you want to control this kind of application to allow that the critical applications get the most better quality of experience that the network can bring.
Got it. Okay. Well, that sounds very helpful, and really, that's a great example that I think most people can understand. I'm sure that Spotify is not really a mission critical app for most organizations, and so for that to consume the substantial amount of bandwidth, I can see how that could be threatening, and sounds like a very interesting and useful uh, offering that you've provided to that customer. So thank you. Anyway, what's the best way that people can learn more if they want to contact you or find out more?
My invitation is to go to our website, allot.com/enterprise. You can find lots of information there. We even have documentation for each vertical, as we were discussing, because the idea is that if you have a specific need, you can be more strict directly using that documentation. Obviously, I'm open to be contacted. I'm happy to have everyone, but whatever you need, I'm able to.
Great. Diego Rodriguez, Head of Enterprise Sales for Allot in Latin America. Thank you for joining us on Allot on Air.
No, thanks to you, Dan. Have a very good day, everyone. Thank you.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening. You can get more information about network intelligence and security solutions for service providers and enterprises on our website at allot.com. Subscribe to this podcast to make sure you hear about new trends and technologies on the next episode of Allot on Air.